It's been that long since I read a classic. Well, it's spooky season, so why not make a Halloween special classic? This is coming with 4 chapters, so let's see what's happens. This story is called Spike's Trick or Treat, written by Chris Novistar. Chapter 1: The Plan. In land Equestria, a land where peace and harmony reign, the moon glowed high in the sky, and stars shone away the darkness. Ponies all over were either getting ready for the nightlife of tidying up for sleep, while others prepare for work the next day. All before teenage mares. The 4 were inside the small treehouse filled with bags and potato and apple chips, sodas, marshmallows, chocolate, even a few salt licks, all in all stuff you would bring to a classic sleepover. Apple Bloom, Sweetie Bells, Scootaloo, and Babseeds were talking about random things, stunts, songs, and most importantly, boys. Do not just any boys. A single type has seemed have incapacitated the attention of all 4 mares. This boy was the most handsome and kindest, sweetest, and bravest boy around. So, you love Spike as well? Asked the yellow-coated, scarlet-mated teen country mare, looking at her 2 closest friends and cousin. She had on a cute pink bra and matched her bow and panties with the Apple family symbol of the hem of her undies. Her cutie mark was a wren and screwdriver crossing over a red apple. Well, I wouldn't put it like that, AB. I mean, sure, he's cool in everything, but stated a tomboyish orange-coated purple-mated Pegasus wearing her training bra, despite being the smallest in the group when it came to the chest sizes, but her well-toned legs made up for it, or at least it did to the boys. When she wore the boyish shorts she was wearing, even if it did cover her cutie mark. Oh, stop denying it, Scoots. We all heard you moaning his name last week at our sleepover. Scoots' face turned red from the statement. The white unicorn mare with a purple 2-toned curly mane said. The white mare wore a transparent purplish gown, no doubt made by her sister of the court, with a fuzzy line that covered her cute chest. Even without her having the largest bust, she got the most attention out of the whole group. She also wore matching panties adorned with a soft silk fabric that showed off her music's note and mic note cutie mark that signified a singing voice too glorious that both genders would flock over to hear her. Look, who's talking, miss? Take me to the moon with those magical claws of yours, spoke the city accent pink-mated tantine like Scootaloo. She also wore an orange training bra, letting her chest nearly rival that of Sweetie Bells, in a pair of matching panties that covered her cutie mark as well. Babs had just moved from Manhattan, since no school in the city would take her after her violent outburst. She had assaulted a mare for bullying, another for not having a cutie mark. It started with vocal threats before it landscaped in physical convulsions. Let's just say that the bully's muzzle was wild shut for the next month, but we all can agree that he's the most sexiest thing on this planet. Yeah, the 3 others said in the unseasonal. So Who's going to date him? Sweetie asked. A wave of silence consumed the room. How about we all date him until he chooses one of us? Or we can just share him, Applebloom suggested. That's a good idea, Applebloom, Scoo said as she opened a can of grape soda. But how are we going to ask him? We can just walk up to him and say, "Hey, Spike, how about you take all 4 of us to someplace cool?" Plus, he still is getting over the fact that my sister doesn't share the same feelings as he does. The 4 teens sigh. The 4 members of the Cutie Mark Crusaders remember the event very clearly 4 years ago. Flashbacks. The 4 Crusaders had the best walking home from school that event as a shadow had crossed over them. Terror was the first thing they felt as the shadow was shaped in the form of a dragon. Instantly their heads shot up to catch the sight of their would-be attacker and saw, to their great shock, Spike fly by at max speed. His flight was wobbly and slow as he had only recently acquired his wings two weeks ago. Still, it was fast for him. They would have normally left him to his own, believing he was getting a greenleaf for twilight. As he flew into the everfree forest, that was until a tear had fallen off the muzzle in that moment. They gave chase to the dragon. He had flown a hair distance into the everfree, though strangely there was no animal or dangerous plant to get in their way. The girls were contemplating if they should go back to tell Twilight of Spike flying off, thinking he was leaving Ponyville, but they stopped dead in their tracks as they reached the most stunning sight they had seen in all in the Everfree. It was a crystal clear lake, a pool so clean and calm you see the absolute depth of water. They saw in detail that the wood and trees had sunk to the bottom in the waterfall that was the only source of discord in the otherwise peaceful area. That was a sight in of itself. It has considered rainbow both at the bottom where the water fronted and the top where it began decent. They could have stayed in that spot for hours on end just enjoying the scenery. Well, had it been for the cries they heard. They had traveled around the falls, finding a small niche that gave way to a large carving hiding just behind the falls. They found Spike crying. It was a small, quiet affair that only made it worse. Going deeper in, they had nearly kneeled over by what they saw. Gems upon gems were piled to the roof of the carven. It was a pile into a corner and absolutely engaged, as there was no physical way, such as a large horn couldn't fall over. But that wasn't after in their mind. Spike was crying. The strongest, most composed and level-hearted dragon they knew was hurt. Spike, Sweetie called, staring at the weeping dragon as he turned around, anger playing on his face as he eyed the corn. Instantly, his face turned to one of the sorrow and regret. Sorry, he was getting to his feet, his eyes never leaving the girls. It became apparent to the girls that Spike had darted through the waterfall and his purple shirt was soaked into the bone. What are you for doing here? He asked, shaking his clothes and to the streaming water off himself. We've been following you since you flew out of Ponyville, Spike, Dad said, looking closely at Spike, noticing his red, puffy eyes. She was about to ask him what he was doing here until Album beat her to the punch. Nothing that concerns you. His tone was cold and distant and terrified them. We were just worried, Spike. It's not like you just fly into here. What happened? Sweetie asked, drawing closer to the dragon and attempted to calm him down. It wasn't working. You know what happens, Sweetie Belle? He asked, moving to his hoard, and as he did so, the eye ruefully as it wasn't a pile of delicious gems, but more as something disgusting and sad. Do you know what these are? He directed the question at them. They're gems, Skulu said. Eyed the pile, trying to see what Spike found so awful about them. And yes and no, he said, lifting one of the claws into the air. They are gems. He swung his fist down, smashing every gem they lay under them. But more importantly, he swung again. They are, again, his fist crashed down. Reminders, again and again, his fist made contact with the precious stones, breaking them, smashing them, turning them into dust under his barrage of wasted hours, of wasted feelings, of wasted everything. He shouted, his bore growing smaller and smaller as he spoke. Spike, stop, the girls cried, trying to fall into deep the dragon from destroying his gems. Stone after stone they watched, lost until there was nothing left. Nothing but a painting dragon and 4 horrified fillies. You asked what those gems were? They are the gems I helped Rarity pick. They were the blood, sweat, and tears we both put into getting. They were hopes and dreams and bring bright futures. A very nice lie, I told myself, he said, extending his wings to the full leaf. The gems were broken promise and lies. He finished, giving the one again the flap of his wings to send the remainings of dust into the waterfall and down into the lake below it. What happened? Babs asked. She asked, seeing the affection Spike held for Rarity. It was no Ponyville secret, not even a personal one. How could affection turn into this? Nothing much, Rarity simply and conflicted, Spike said, not in a fashion. Now, the girls were stunned. They were beyond speechless. They were flabbergasted. Sweet, did you know Rarity had a cult friend? A.B. asked the unicorn as they began to converse among themselves. I didn't even know she liked any cults in Ponyville. She spoke in a hushed tone. Seriously, she's your sister. You gotta at least know what she got the hots for some stallions, Babs retorted. Yeah, sweetie, you spend every moment with her. I'm surprised you didn't notice, Skulu said. It's fine, even I didn't know, till she was making out with him in the boutique. Spike said, his arms linked around Sweetie Belle and Scoots. They naturally screamed out in shock, making Spike chuckle. Don't worry about it, he said, going deeper into his cave, monitoring the girls to follow. Sorry about that. I just had to get rid of all that stuff. He led the girls deeper and deeper into the cave. They marveled at the depth, which is say that they began to worry of getting lost in the maze of the cave. They were mistaken. Spike had led them into an open area of the cave. Well, more as well of a cliff. The evening lit light steamed through an open portion of the cave overlooking to Ponyville and beyond. So, Spike said, "Want to kick back?" he asked, reaching into the pool to pull out a bottle of tequila. They spent a few hours chatting, Spike telling them about how he found the cave and him setting it up as his hangout, where he had off time and his getaway when things got into so stressful back home. Flashback ends. The 14s went silent again, trying to think up ways to tell their crush that all four of them wanted to date him. I think I got an idea, Babs said, a mysterious grin on her face. How about we challenge him to game or something? Make a bet with him that when he loses, he will have to take all of us out on a date. He'll have to do what he say, because of his dragon-coated trimmed bob. Think could work, but how are we gonna make him say yes or to the bet of it in the first place? The unicorn in the group asked. Simple, Spike, almost as prideful as Rainbow Dash. If we tease him and bait him enough, his pride will make him say yes, the oldest of the four replied. That's all, well, good, but what kind of game or whatever should we do? It would be something that we could able to win no matter what, the young cowmare pointed out. We'll play poker. My mom used to be a dealer when she was my age. She taught me a lot of cards tricks. I'll settle with Spike. We'll win a couple of rounds and get cocky with a round while mention the bet and bait him to agree to decide it with one last hand. Because of his pride, he'll think that he can't lose. That when I give him a bad hand, he'll lose to us and he'll be none the wiser, Babs said with a grin as she rubbed her hands together with cartoon villain. That's a good idea. The other three should unseen. And where are we going to play our game? Scootaloo asked, talking another sip of drink. Where else? At the library. Meanwhile, at the library, Spike was busy reading a book in the upcoming holiday nightmare night. Ever since Twilight became a princess, both he and Twilight had found themselves busier than usual. Back and forth with Canterlot to Ponyville, Spike and Twilight had to help from her former mentor and her sister run a kingdom via meet with some snobby ponies and plan some major events. The good thing about being a Canterlot was that Twilight got to spend time with her parents while Spike spent time with his mom and aunt, despite the fact that Discord, Fluttershy, and Pinkie Pie were also there. Spike didn't question why Pinkie was here, but he didn't really mind. Fluttershy did say she was there to help Discord in check, but out of all of them, there was still that one pony would ruin everything. Prince Bluebud. Spike hated him. He hated the royal snob that shamed the Celestial Royal Sisters just for being related to him. Even if it was the adopted son to the princesses of the sun, Spike just wanted to mount that jerk head over the fireplace. But he knew better than to attack one of his cousins. Spike chuckled, still remembering the time he pissed off Celestia when Spike was still a baby. Flashbacks. It was about noon on another beautiful sunny day that Celestia brought forth. The princess glad to have her son in town for royal business as they sat together the royal garden on a blanket made from the finest silk in Equestria. Normally, Celestia would be wearing her royal white dress, showcasing her perfect hip, cutie mark, and bountiful chest. But today, she was wearing a sleeves yellow shirt that covered her upper body in a triangle in a black pair of jeans that would surprise everyone but those closest to her, while Spike wore a pair of blue jeans and a lime green shirt. In front of them, there were cakes, donuts, gems, and a few other treats for the two of them. They enjoyed themselves taking about anything that popped into their minds and playing around like any happy mother and son would. That was until A white, well-dressed stallion with a blonde mane entered the garden. He was having a wonderful day putting down ponies who were not novel named Pinkie Pie. Good afternoon, Auntie. I'm here to ask you attended with my. What in the name of your mother is that thing? The prince screamed, pointing his finger at Spike. He's not a thing, dear nephew. He's a dragon. And I told you that I was clearly my schedule to be with him. Now, if you please take your leave, Celestia said in a polite manner, simply sipping her tea, but the prince, being the suborn of what he is, shook his head. Not till this monster leaves. Spike looked over his hot chocolate and saw it was boiling. He didn't look back at Celestia, whose mane, that tail were gone. At Celestia's mane and tail were gone, only to be replaced by the flames of the sun itself. The flames surrounded the stallion, making escaping impossible as they heat in session to the point where its source of the stallion's clothes. Spike was lucky that dragons were immune to such heat and that Discord was able to proof from fireproof gear for everyone else. How darest thou insult my son? The sound of thunder and angry Mother Aurora filled the air as it rumbled throughout the castle. Her arranged out even awoke the Luna from her slumber. Through who are not even worthy enough to scrub royal toilet doesn't have a gal to call him the monster. Maybe I should now see the worst fear any creature could ever see, a monster wrath. It was a good thing that Bluebud's pants were already burnt off, because he had boiled them in fear. Finally, taking the hint, he made a run for it. Into his home, a lot of ponies were able to take nude pictures of him before he got there. They spread throughout the Equestria to his day. He's still called the nude runner from today to time, especially when he gets too snobbish. And the flashback. While the sight of naked Bluebud will forever haunt his nightmare, a memory of the look of his face will always bring out a chuckle and a smile to his face. He was sitting on the couch in the library. Twilight is always, and he will have the treehouse all to himself. Closing his book, Spike placed it back and went upstairs. God damn it. It was getting late and he needed to rest laying on his bed. Spike let his mind wander into the tree markers, all wearing skinny swimsuits before slipping into slumber embrace. Stay tuned for chapter 2, y'all. And like always, guys, I'm always so sick of the same town, the same places, and these same faces. Happy Halloween, y'all.